How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store's holiday sale is going on right now. Just an absolutely loaded sale. We talked games under $5 yesterday. There's still a ton more to cover as far as games under $5, but I feel like the under $10 threshold is one video you guys are waiting for, and there is so much good stuff under 10 bucks, and again, scratching the surface here, so there's gonna be a lot of content to cover. It's gonna take us a little bit, but we got about 12 deals to go over in this video. Let's get right into it, and let's kick it off with the most insane deal that I've seen across this entire sale so far. It is not even close, and that is Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It is 90% off for $5.99. Look, I meme on BioWare a lot. I wasn't crazy about them teasing a new Mass Effect game that'll come out in 2032 back on N7 Day, but man, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, $5.99. This deal is insane. This showcases BioWare at their absolute height with Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3. Sure, Mass Effect 1 still shows its age. It shows its age, and they did what they could to try to get it up to speed, but it shows its age, but it's still a damn good game. Mass Effect 2, in my opinion, is one of the greatest video games ever created. It still holds up in that level, and it's a fantastic game. And Mass Effect 3, yes, everybody talks about the ending, but the game itself is still a really, really good playthrough. Look, $5.99 for this is great. Whether you played the Mass Effect games on PlayStation 3, which Mass Effect 1 was never even available on PlayStation 3, or you play them on other platforms, you just want to revisit them, or you're starting Mass Effect for the first time, because guess what? Mass Effect 1 came out all the way back in 2007. There's a new generation of gamers that are probably going to be into a style of game like Mass Effect. Man, the Legendary Edition is so good, and I fondly remember the days when, you know, a developer like BioWare would put out a game like Mass Effect in 2007, turn around and put out Mass Effect 2 in 2010, and then turn around and put out Mass Effect 3 in, I believe, 2012. Just the consistent releases, and you look at what BioWare is doing now, you know, 8 years in between games and all that good stuff. You know, I do fondly reminisce on the Mass Effect days, but those days are long gone, but I can happily relive them with the Legendary Edition. $5.99 is great. Check it out. Another EA title here, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, 85% off for $5.99. You guys know me. Jedi Survivor is a game that I rave about and talk about how it's in the mix for my game of the year. Jedi Fallen Order, I had some issues with. One of them I constantly go back to, but for the most part, it is a fantastic game. I love Cal as a main character, and you got to see his story and how he becomes a Jedi. And I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but Jedi Fallen Order was the game that got me more into Star Wars. And I even watched some of the prequel trilogy. I believe those are the ones I watched. Yeah, it's prequel trilogy, original trilogy, and then the new movies. Right. I'm not, yeah, as you guys can tell, I'm not big into the Star Wars lore like that, but Jedi Fallen Order was great. Jedi Survivor was good as well, but on Fallen Order, really good combat, gameplay's great, good level of exploration, it runs great on the PlayStation 5 as well, so if you're playing it on the PS5, even better. Obviously, I constantly go back to the fact that the map design is absolutely atrocious. They do fix that up in Jedi Survivor, but man, in Fallen Order, it is an abomination, and you'll see that being a issue that a lot of people do go back to when you talk about Jedi Fallen Order, but still, the good outweighs the bad, and Fallen Order is certainly a game I would recommend. Next up, we got Metro Exodus Gold Edition, 80% off for $7.99. This will get you Metro Exodus with the DLC content. Metro Exodus is a really solid game, even though I do prefer Metro Last Light is my favorite, but Exodus is still a damn good single-player atmospheric first-person title with a solid narrative attached to it as well. I would definitely recommend it, especially with the Gold Edition. This is another game that on PlayStation 5 runs exceptionally well, so definitely play it on there if you do have a PS5. I imagine the majority of you do. If you have yet to play Metro 2033 or Metro Last Light, highly would recommend you to go the route of getting the Metro Saga bundle. You'll spend, what, an additional $4 on top of Metro Exodus's Gold Edition, and you'll get 2033 Redux and Last Light Redux. Those games are quite good. These games aren't super lengthy, but they've got great atmospheres, great settings, voice acting's good, story's good, and the tone of the game is really strong. Gameplay isn't blow away, but it's fine, and for $7.99 here with Exodus Gold Edition, or, you know, $11.99 for the Saga bundle. Can't go wrong with that. Next up, we got the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition, 80% off for $7.99. Now, I imagine the majority of you own the Skyrim, but it's the holidays. Why not give Skyrim a mention? It's been 12 years since this game has come out, and we still don't have Elder Scrolls 6, and damn it, Elder Scrolls 6 probably not going to be on PS6 or PS5 you know, whatever generation it corresponds with. But we'll have Skyrim, and I thought Skyrim was an awesome game. This is upgraded on PS5 as well, which is quite nice. Kind of wild to say it's upgraded on PS5 when this was initially a PS3 game. Kind of got that GTA 5 thing going on where they've released this on so many platforms. Skyrim's a classic in my opinion. Love the game. I still remember 11/11/11. The days leading up to the release of Skyrim were a special time, and I initially played Skyrim on the PlayStation 3, and if you played Skyrim on the PlayStation 3, you know how much of a train wreck that was, but yeah, a lot of those issues obviously alleviated with the PS4 and definitely the PS5 version. $8, great deal here. Next up, we got Borderlands, the Handsome Collection. Another collection I constantly go to bat for. 75% off for $9.99. Borderlands, another, you know, a couple of games that I grew up with the early Borderlands title. Borderlands 1 came out in 2009, followed up by Borderlands 2 in 2012, and the pre-sequel in 2014. The Handsome Collection gets you Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. And Borderlands 2, in my opinion, is the absolute peak of Borderlands. That game just hit all of the good elements of Borderlands. I thought the comedy was good, gameplay was great, a lot of content, a lot of replayability, characters were solid. Just such a well-made game, and I know that Borderlands does have an emphasis on its cooperative play. However, I do think Borderlands is perfectly enjoyable solo as well. I've completed the game several times solo and several times cooperatively as well, and I've had a great time every time through, and I think ultimately people will still enjoy Borderlands solo. It's not like a game like Castle Crashers. That's a game I'm just like, yo, you gotta play that cooperatively. Borderlands, I don't think that's the case. By the way, if you don't have Borderlands 1, they do have the Borderlands Legendary Collection for $19.99. That'll get you Borderlands 1 Remastered as well. So pretty good deal all around there for all that Borderlands content, but pre-sequel and Borderlands 2 with most of the game's respective DLC. I say most because there's one piece missing from Borderlands 2. It's not the biggest thing in the world, so it's not a big deal, but $9.99 for that is great. Next up, let's give Assassin's Creed some love, and you know, I gotta give my throwback Assassin's Creed the love. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed Unity, all of those are $9 a pop. It is the base games of all of those. Black Flag, obviously tremendous. Rumblings about a remake, remaster, or remake probably, but yeah, Edward Kenway, one of the best characters in Assassin's Creed, and I even go as far as to say, I know everybody loves Ezio, but Edward's my boy, Edward's my boy, and I loved Edward as a main character. I feel like they could do a lot more with him, or they could have done a lot more with him, but hey, if they remake Black Flag, let's get more Edward, because I think he's a character they could do so much with, and Black Flag is so fantastic. Naval combat I enjoyed the ship element to the game, and it looks like they're parlaying that into its own, you know, franchise with Skull and Bones, but we don't talk about that right now. Black Flag was great. Obviously, Syndicate is a game that I think is criminally underrated, was the final game in the older style of Assassin's Creed titles, thought it was quite good. And then Unity was a game that was absolutely hated on when it initially came out, had a lot of technical issues, but a lot of people nowadays go back and play it and talk up Unity pretty big. I gotta go back and play through it again, but want to give that a mention as well at $9. All of these games are available on Plus Extra, but the Ubisoft games have been they have been getting cycled out of Plus Extra recently, so I would imagine that these games aren't going to be here for much longer, but if you want to play it that way, that is an option. Next up, we got Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition, 80% off for $7.99. This gets you Kingdom Come Deliverance along with the DLC content for $8. This is great. This was holding up at $9.99 for a while. Now it dipped even lower to $8. Historical RPG, more on the realistic side, tells a really good story. Not going to be for everybody, but I think for people that like the historical elements and want that out of an RPG, they'll really like Kingdom Come Deliverance as a whole. With the Royal Edition, with the bonus content, good value here as well. A lot of content, and a game that does not get enough love. I feel like more people should check it out. I know it's not like the style of RPG that is really going to resonate to a lot of console players, but I still think KCD is a game that a lot of people would be pleasantly surprised by. Again, if you do like that aesthetics and the setting of the game, I think that is going to make you enjoy it a lot more. So $8 for that is great. Next up, we got Infamous Second Son, 50% off for $9.99. Obviously available on PlayStation Plus Extra. Love me some Infamous Second Son. Runs great on the PlayStation 5. You guys also know me, if you follow this channel, I love Infamous. Infamous is one of my favorite franchises, and it's a shame that it's another one of those franchises that's kind of been dormant. Obviously, Sucker Punch very much busy with Ghost of Tsushima these days, but Infamous 1 was great, Infamous 2 was really good, and Infamous Second Son, while I do think it was the weakest of the three mainline games, I don't think Delson is at the level of Cole. you know, Delsin's still a likable character. I still thought Delsin was an alright character, and overall the game was really good. It was a game that I feel like could have used a little bit more development time, but I understand why they released it when they did, given that they had to get big PS4 exclusives out. The pressure was on them to do that. And Infamous Second Son came out in March of 2014, like 4 months after the release of the PS4, and it was like one of the big exclusives that was a console seller, and it did a good job in that. The main campaign, if you rush through it, it's fairly short. It does have a lot of optional content and things of that nature, but yeah, $10 for it, I think is great. Hopefully, like, by God, can we get an Infamous 1 and 2 collection? Can we get an Infamous 1 remake? Infamous 1 and 2, Ratchet & Clank Future, the 2 PlayStation 3 franchises that are absolutely getting lost, and without backwards compatibility, we have no way to preserve those games. Sony's got to do something about that. But nonetheless, my rant for now is over, but expect that rant to continue in future videos. Next up, we got South Park: The Stick of Truth, 75% off for $7.49. I'm not a big South Park guy. Watched a couple of the specials, found it humorous, but South Park: The Stick of Truth came out at a time where I had literally never watched an episode of South Park in my life, back in 2013. Since then, I've caught some stuff, but I tried it out, and it's honestly humorous how Obsidian took South Park and made it a fundamentally well-done RPG. Like, South Park is supposed to be comedy, but then when you play the game, the comedy is almost accentuated by the fact that it's funny, that it's mechanically a well-done RPG. Like, it's humorous seeing South Park executed in that way, and if you're a South Park fan, you're probably gonna really enjoy this game. And it's not super lengthy for an RPG, but the humor was definitely there. And again, as somebody that never watched South Park when I played this game, like, I was laughing at this game, and I thought it was great. $7.49, great pickup for it, and if you're a South Park fan, doubly so. You'll really like the game. And lastly, why not give a shout out to Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster. 60% off for $9.99. Some rumblings about a potential remake of Final Fantasy X happening at some point. I could easily see that coming to fruition after the success of the FF7 remake. I think remakes of all the Final Fantasy games are on the table. But that's probably going to come out, you know, 2026, 2027. 2026, I believe, would be the 25th anniversary of the release, so that makes sense. But FF10's a great game. Shows its age, absolutely. Some of the voice acting, the laugh, that isn't the great, but I liked a lot of elements of the FF10. Story was really good. The Final Fantasy X battle theme is goated, and again, solid story. A Sphere Grid I thought was great. $9.99 for it is really good for this collection. And X-2, I know people have their opinions on X-2, but you get that on top of FF10, so think of it what you want. FF10 alone is easily worth the $9.99, and X-2, whether or not you want to play it, I'll leave that up to you, but certainly play X, it's quite good. But that will do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals as a part of this PlayStation Store holiday sale, just top to bottom. The under 5 was great, under 10 I would say is even better. That Mass Effect Legendary Edition sale, legitimately, I think you could make an argument that is the best PSN deal we have seen all year. The idea of getting the entire Mass Effect trilogy $2 a pop is insane and well worth it. Like, if you don't have the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect, that is highway robbery. I know I say that a lot these days about deals being highway robberies. That is legitimately highway robbery, and go grab that if you don't have it. Like, that is essential to have in your library. But nonetheless, that'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.